least your hand heals. You don't have to, you know, it's a nice thing about your hand. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it looks really good, Esteban.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And it stays on really good.
Yep, it stays on tight.
Good.
How does it, if you hold out your hands, how does it match up with the length of your, oh, it's a pretty good match. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's pretty dead on, basically.
Yeah, good. Good, nice. Yeah, he did a good job on that.
And what do you think would make it more useful for you? If you could add features to this arm or come up with a new arm idea. I know Jeremy's involved with a project that's looking at, I think, a wrist activated device right now, but there's a lot of conversations about improvements.
Right, I seen that. I watched the videos.
Yeah, so what do you think? If you could do something to change this and make it better, any ideas?
I'm not really sure. Maybe something to cover this part here.
Okay.
Right, you had mentioned that the last time.
Right.
Sort of like a, and there's a Kwawu arm that has, let me add the link in here.
It's like a fairing, but that's a really good idea, especially for this design, because it does look rather awkward the way they have that whole open area. Just, yeah, it would, I think it would look a lot more natural if there was
I sort of like these straps. They hold on pretty tight, but
sure, but you could have something that goes over the straps. The straps could still be there. It could be a fairing like snaps on over that or something.
Yeah, because these, just in case, because sometimes if you have to pull, some of these come loose,
and so you adjust them.
Yeah, that's why when you pull it, sometimes they just, if you pull too tight, they'll come loose.
Okay.
So like I've been sticking it around these little loops right here to hold it a little tighter so it doesn't come loose.
Got it.
I'm wondering why you can't print a cover like for the hand on the Kinetic, why that couldn't be designed to go down here too, you know, even designed individually depending on the person's residual arm.
Yeah.
Because that would protect your remaining arm there rather than just sitting out there in the wind, because it feels unprotected, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. So that would be using what you just showed on the Kinetic hand is using a flexible material for that.
That'd be something nice too, just to cover it.
Yeah.
That would be nice. It'd be comfortable. It's a little challenging for some people to print those, but it's getting better. Materials and printers are getting better. So
Esteban, I added a link in there for the Kwawu arm, which is sort of a covering for the forearm socket. But there's also the Poe arm sort of has what you're talking about. It looks like it's sort of two sections that kind of enclose each other, almost like an envelope. Is that sort of what you're imagining?
Yeah, something like that, right?
But maybe it could even be a material like Judy's palm that is thermoformable and flexible, even breathable.
Because I don't know.
Nice idea.
Because I don't know, like if other people that have the same problem, but like at the end of my stub, it's sometimes it's really, really cold.
Right.
And then some days it's warm. Like literally sometimes it's so frozen that I can feel it. Like it's from here to about here. It's literally just.
Do you think it's like, are you cutting off circulation? Or the straps too tight?
No, it's not the arm. I've been always like that though. My arm's always, because I didn't wear anything before.
Okay.
So it would always stay cold. It's maybe because of the circulation, but it's not nothing to do with the hand.
Okay.
But it's like uncomfortable a lot for me because this part here is open. So if it does, maybe it'd be better if it was a little something covering to keep it warmer.
Right.
Maybe a little submitten.
Right. No, even I
Do you
Sometimes
live,
it changes.
where do you live? Is it in a cold? Do you get?
Yeah, it's always, this weather is up and down here. It might
Okay.
snow tomorrow.
Okay, so what do you wear in the winter? You've got gloves on your right hand.
Sometimes I do, but I put just a glove over it, but still, maybe because it is a circulation,
Yeah,
it gets, in the wintertime, it's even worse. It gets frozen to where I gotta like use my other hand to cover it just to stay warm.
have you ever spoken to a physician about that
No,
in regards to the circulation?
I've been buying those little hot packs from the dollar store sometimes.
I see
And
that.
stick them in there to keep it warm.
No,
I
it's a.
Yeah.
Oh, Judy, you first.
I was just gonna say, I used those when I did playground duty.
Mm.
I was teaching, but I used them in my feet. My feet
Oh
always.
yeah, they could, those, yeah, you can use them like that too.
Mhm.
It's an interesting idea to have something where you can keep your residual arm warm, but also not have it get in the way of the device and sort of have it not show up so much. I did see in the chat, Alexander added there's a material that sort of looks like chainmail. So
I
that's
know what I'm
really
printing
flexible.
today.
What's up?
I said, I know what I'm printing today.
There you go.
I've done some of this chainmail before, and it is fun to print, but this one looks like a big improvement. I hadn't seen this one.
It's very fun to print, and it does work directly off the print pad. It prints very nicely without supports. And maybe being paired, like on the inside of the arm, being paired with some fabric so that it also keeps the fabric in contact with the skin. So it doesn't get in the way of the device, but it also acts as a normal clothing.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because it gives you the benefit of the flexible material and being able to adapt to the shape, but it doesn't have the difficulty of printing that flexibles do. So that's an interesting approach.
Right. That's
Is-
nice.
It's literally a chainmail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the chainmail what they put on the kinetic hand? Is that called chainmail?
No, on the kinetic hand, they're actually printing in a flexible material. So it's being
Okay.
printed more solid, but it's flexible material.
Now, Connie, who printed mine, used the flexible material, but it was really too flexible. So she used the next step up from
Mhm.
that material. And that's what she made for me, is the
Yeah.
next step up.
Yeah,
So-
there's lots of different levels of flexibility, and she probably went to something like a TPU 90 or 95 or something like that, which is a semi-flex material, and that'll work great. But a lot of people still have difficulties just getting that flexible material to run through their printers.
Right.
So we always are looking for alternatives. It's great for some people. Some people have no issues printing it, but others, we need to give them an
Blocked
option.
up easily.
Yeah, it's because the material is so flexible that when you're trying to push it through the hot end on the printer, it'll kind of bunch up, and it creates challenges.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting alternative that if somebody can't print that, this would be an alternative because it's printed in a rigid material, but because of the chainmail, it ends up being just like fabric. I've printed one of these before, and it'll just kind of, flow over whatever shape you put it on.
Really? Is there an image that you could put a link?
Yeah, just click on that Thingiverse link there in the chat.
The image is there? Okay.
Yeah, they have images right up there on the Thingiverse page.
Yeah, it looks like a fabric. I guess the only issue with it is that it wouldn't solve the issue of temperature. I mean,
That's
it's going to be
correct.
just as breathable as not having anything. But you could have a sock or something a mitten to keep the residual warm, and then having this over it, you wouldn't be able to see that at all. It would just be this sort of material.
Right. Because sometimes it flexes cold, sometimes it's hot.
But it could be interesting to now, if you put your arm close to the camera, I'm curious. So it would attach to where the straps are attaching, maybe. So
Right,
you would need to
yeah.
have some sort of way of sort of pinning it. And I guess the benefit of having something really flexible, like what Alexander shared, is you could potentially cover over all the straps and everything. You could have all the straps be on the inside if it could be something that you can just hook in.
There are little loops right here,
Okay,
right here on the side where you probably can attach it to it though.
right.
There's like, I don't know if you
What
can
if
see
would
it.
take something?
You can probably use knitting to connect the chainmail with those holes.
Right, right.
Alexander, have you printed any of that material yet?
Yes, and I've tested how it holds onto a hand, and it's really rigid when it matters, and it's really flexible when it doesn't need to be rigid.
All right.
Surprisingly solid. I didn't manage to break it so far.
Yeah, it's pretty strong stuff. What did you print it in? Are you just using PLA for your testing?
Yeah, just simple PLA. I think Devil design, so nothing too serious. And with the standard tests and the smallest one, I believe, from their website.
I'm gonna go ahead and print some of this in PET G because it'll be even stronger. I'm gonna see how that goes.
I'm curious. If
Esteban, can I just show you this?
Sure.
Here's another idea. So on top of your device, you put a piece of cloth that has Velcro on 2 parts. You wrap it around your hand and tighten it up here so that you're covering up.
That part.
It's like a gauntlet, but it's
Right.
on the top so that you could stuff more things inside on this part of the cloth to keep your hand warm.
Right.
But if you would put Velcro, just depending on the size, of course, I'd make it a little bit bigger and maybe put 2 strips of Velcro on the catching side so that this whole thing would cover it up. And
Right.
all this is a scrap of cloth that I found here in my studio.
I got a bunch of that.
Piece of old sweatshirt.
Right.
Yeah. So try that. See if that makes a difference.
Okay.
I'm curious if you are interested in this new material, Esteban, maybe if you measure how big of a piece you would need, I wonder if, Jeremy, is that something that you might be able to send for Esteban to try?
Just thinking about that, yeah, because I'm thinking I'm going to print one of the bigger pieces today since I have some bigger printers here. How would you trim? I guess you could just cut links. I'm just thinking about how you would go about customizing that. I guess you could probably cut it. I mean, these are individual pieces that you could kind of clip off and kind of shape it to your needs.
Surprisingly easy to cut.
Right, right.
Okay, let me see how the print goes, but I'm happy to send it to you, Esteban. Let me see if I can get one done here, and maybe I'll do a couple of them. So I want to have one that we can play with for our design team as well and explore options in that other meeting that we have. So I'll maybe print one to keep here to play with and print one to send to you. I'll work on that. Yeah.
Do you want to try to measure your arm? Give Jeremy a sense of how?
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to print one as big as I can. I think the limitation is going to be my print bed more than his arm, but I'll do the biggest one I can, and then he can kind of trim it down.
Probably going to be 2 or 3 of the biggest one, and they're going to be sitting parallel to each other.
Okay.
But I like how we're thinking of the engineering, and Judy here has the best idea possible.
I know that's
going to
really
solve
nice
all
idea.
the issues.
Right. That really is
I like that approach.
That's got the heat that covers up the straps.
Well, but the chainmail is when it's too hot. And
That's true. It's a nice breathable option.
Yeah.
True.
Still, I mean, you wouldn't need that big, say by like 6. You like 6 inches across and then 5 across. I mean,
okay. All right, I should be able to do that. I'll work on that.
Yeah. Cool.
Like maybe a rectangle of 12 by 5.
Right.
Yeah, I have to see what options they give us, but
Yeah. So can you clip this down with like snips?
Yeah, that's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Because each individual chain is just a plastic link, so it should be easy to clip them off.
And how would you attach it to the device? Would you have a
Worst case scenario, just
small
strings.
Velcro or strings.
oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
not,
Old school.
right. A zip tie, sorry.
Zip ties. I was going to say the same thing. Zip ties
Right.
are something that
They got
Yeah.
nice small ones.
Michael
That
Arson.
would, yeah, the small ones should work well because they'll go right through these links.
Right.
Right.
I guess you'd want to color coordinate. So what color would be best to print, Esteban? Black, you think?
Yeah, that'll be good. Black.
Okay, that's easy.
Nice thing about black is it doesn't get dirty.
Right. I
So
just
it
bought
looks
it.
like, oh, you have screen sharing disabled, Ben.
Oh. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this.
Well, it probably does get dirty, but you can't see it, right?
Right.
Try now, Jeremy.
So this is the one that I'll print. This is 191 millimeters square. What is that in inches?
It's 19 centimeters, right? No, 19.
7.5. So it'll be 7.5 inches square. You think you can work with that?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay, I will get one of those printing, and assuming it comes out well, get that over to you. I'll get your address separately.
Okay.
Cool.
Good idea, Alexander.
Yeah.
Ahoy, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
There he is.
Thanks for joining us. So he might be getting his audio set up.
Yeah, Bob, are you hearing us? Not yet.
And I figured it's worth introducing Alexander. You guys might have already met him before, but Alexander's involved with the design project that Jeremy and some folks are working on. Bob, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Hey, there you are. Hi.
How you doing? Yeah, I submerged for a couple seconds there.
Mhm.
We've been talking a lot about the arm you made for Esteban, and
Okay.
it's looking nice. We're gonna try making some chainmail fabric that we're hoping might be able to be used to kind of cover up the open area that where it gets cold for 'em and stuff like that. So just playing around with some ideas there.
I actually printed chainmail a while ago.
Yeah, so did I. But Alexander shared with us a link, and you won't see it because you joined later. So let me get you a copy of this link. He shared with us a new version on Thingiverse there that looks like kind of an improved version. So I'm going to try print one of these sheets today, and if it comes out well, I'm going to send one to Esteban to play with.
Yeah, very good. The one I printed 3 years ago when I first joined, it was neat, but it kept falling. It would have the edges. I just made a patch of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of disintegrated little piece by little piece, working
Really?
its way in.
No, I did one and it held up really well. I still have a couple of sheets of it, but this design looks better. It's just got smoother contours and stuff. So I'll try this one out today, and then he should be able to just kind of, trim it down to get it to the shape that he needs. And we talked about maybe just using zip ties to attach it, and we'll see how that goes.
So Esteban, where is it going to be used?
Just right here at this part.
So that whole part that's totally open,
Oh,
he'd like to have something kind of covering that area there.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll see how that works.
Cool.
Great.
And speaking of novel materials, I know, Judy, you've been experimenting with a material for sort of a filler on the inside
Right.
pocket of your device. Maybe you could tell us about the things you've been working on and how that's been going.
Okay. So on this, if we look at the inside of this and see, let's see how my hand fits and all the space that's left there because of the nature of my hand, okay? And because of that, the pressure on this finger is that's where all the pressure comes when I need to move this. So I've been working with something that I was casting with, the material that I use to make the negative to cast my hand that for Connie to use when she was trying to fit this. And then I was thinking, okay, there's got to be something better than that, because I had to trim it by hand or with a knife, and it looked really unattractive. So I thought, okay, I used to get these free samples when I taught art in public school. And there was this stuff called Model Magic that's made by Crayola. You've probably seen these at stores, or maybe your kids or grandkids use it. It's really expensive clay. It was too expensive for public school for 500 kids. I couldn't afford this stuff. But I tried it out and mixed up a bit of it. The packages that were inside of this one package I bought was half an ounce, and I used 2 half-ounce packages and mixed them together and sort of filled the space inside here and put my hand in to have it conform to my residual hand, and then the cover, and then basically made sure the screws would still go down, and then let it dry. I mixed 2 colors together, red and blue, and got, well, you probably can't see the purple.
Yeah, no, it's a very good approach. And I just want to say this is similar to something that John Schull shared with us recently in our other meeting, something called Instamorph. It looks pretty similar. I'm going to put the link here in case you want to look at that.
Okay.
And it's something, I think he said you like stick it in the microwave and warm it, and then you mold it. And it sounds like it works just like what you're using. So that might just be another alternative. I don't know how the pricing compares. This is like $35 for a good size bag, but sounds like it might be a similar option to what you're doing.
The nice thing about this is that it air dries. So you wouldn't need a microwave, let's say for people in a place that didn't have stuff like that. I mean, you'd have to send this to them, but it's also soft.
Yeah.
And it's not hard like the plastic is. It makes your hand feel like it fits, it belongs there.
Yeah, it sounds very similar. And you said the one you're using is called Model Magic?
Yeah, Model Magic.
Got it. Oh, I see it here. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's from Crayola.
It's available in many places.
How much is it and the weight?
The weight of the box?
Well, the quantity of material in the box.
It looks like they have a 4-ounce package for $3.50.
There's a lot of different sizes you can buy.
Yeah.
You can buy.
That's great.
So if you can get it at Michael's or Joann's or Amazon, there's lots of different choices.
Oh, this is nice. They have a pack that they sell with 14 single packs for just over $15. That's the kind of thing that I could even like include a pack of that in our kits or something.
Yeah, that's better, because the stuff that John said, the Instamorph,
you have to get big packages.
$26 for 4.5 pounds, which
right. Now they do. I see you can also buy Model Magic in a 2-pound bucket for $20, which is very cheap. So not bad. That's a good find.
John's was 4.5 pounds for 26.
Was it 4.5 pounds? Oh, I didn't realize it was that bad, that big.
4.5, almost 5 pounds for 20.
Okay, all right.
You know, I do imagine that the Crayola products are going to be, skin safe and for kids,
right?
Are probably easy to find, and like what Judy's saying, it's probably distributed pretty far.
They're not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it more. I'm interested in what you said about not needing anything special to heat it up or anything like that. So maybe it's a more accessible option.
Well, you can reuse this stuff. Sort of like Play-Doh if you keep it in a container, but it does air dry. So once once you make the form you want, you just let it sit on the counter and turn it from time to time, or sit on paper, I think. Turn it from time to time, because it does not shrink like clay does.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So, but if you do not air dry it, it will squeeze through these little holes. Okay, I had another one I was using that maybe it was this purple one, and it was still moist, so it was squeezing through the holes.
Right.
Because
How
I-
compliant is it once it's dry, Judy?
How compliant?
Yeah, I mean,
Is it still soft?
how,
Mm.
so,
It's not, once it's dry, you know, it's not hard like rock. That's
But
why it feels sort of comfortable, but, you know, I'm just wondering as I use it, if it's going to stay in the form. So I'm still
Yeah.
testing it for that particular purpose.
Good.
Um,
So it's got just enough give for comfort, it sounds like.
Yeah, it does. And enough strength to give you leverage and to fill the emptiness. So if you look at the space here, you can see how much emptiness I have in the hand. So that's a lot of floating around in there when you're trying to operate the device, you know? Anyway, so I thought it was cool. But yeah, that's my only thought. But I'm also testing out a nick finger or a thumb for my thumb that only has one joint. And I'll tell you, the nick finger, I'm trying to, I asked Connie, she's printed out 2 for me, and they're not quite the right size, but she printed out one in black that I don't have on, but it doesn't seem to snap back easily. There we go. And the other one I've taken apart and I'm trying to figure out how to put it back together again. But she's printing me some more of the sleeves. I don't know what you call the first part of it that actually goes on your residual finger. Is there a name for it? Do you know this part?
what do they call it? A
Yeah.
phalanx?
Distal.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
it's gonna
That's the proximal phalanx, but I don't know what that piece is called.
Right. Well, it's going to replace the non-existent distal end of my thumb.
Okay.
That's the point of this, so that when I use it on the hand, I can actually connect things by having a 3-point or a 2-point, well, you know, what do you call this? A 2-point connection, so you can do this. And we're thinking that might do it. But then I looked at some of the designs that you've shown with thumbs that are sort of going at different angles. So you've got this and you've got a thumb going down this direction. And I'm not sure why, what hand is that has a thumb going down?
It's the Phoenix, isn't it?
The Phoenix, I think, does that. Yeah.
And what does that allow?
Debatable. Somebody felt that would give you a better gripping position. I think that the jury is still out on that. I personally like the kinetic hand with a more natural orientation of the thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just different ways of thinking about how do you get the best possible sort of grip shape so that you can do the most with it.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix thumb allows for a larger open position area so you could grip a larger can.
Oh, right.
Let's say, because the kinetic hand, you notice if I just hold my hand naturally, it's like this. But if I move my thumb down,
Mhm.
theoretically, I can, grip something a little larger. It's unnatural, but
That's
Right.
true. It's a good point.
that's what I've noticed testing the various models.
Yeah.
And
Well,
how has your device been working for you, Judy? Have you tried? Obviously,
I've
you've
been-
been working with the
well,
molding material.
I have been, and I'll tell you, it's exhausting. And it's not physically exhausting, it's mentally exhausting. Because, you pick something up, you just do it because you've been doing it how many odd years you've been alive. And this is like, I've got to concentrate on where the fingers have to go to be able to get them underneath, to be able to wrap around them. And because I still don't have the thumb perfected, there are certain things I can't do. But yeah, it's a mental challenge to do and I don't know if you're finding that too, Esteban.
Yeah, you concentrate more on what you're
Yeah,
doing. Yeah.
you're thinking, okay, now what do I have to do in order to pick that up and hold it? Yeah, so I did put those little end tips on these also because the grips, even though there's some texture to them, they're slippery. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was folding clothes and I lost 2 of them. And then I found them again in the clothes.
Judy, I want to ask, do you find it hard to learn how to use the arm because your natural arm is wobbling inside the device? Or is it simply that it's a new device, new finger, so you have to learn how to use it in general?
Well, because I made the filler to fill up the vacuum in there or the leftover negative space, that is not a problem. Before it was a problem because, the hand will just move around. But it's mainly because there's a device and I've never had fingers there before. And even if I did have fingers, if I was born complete, well, with both hands complete, and lost them, it still might be a training that you have to do because of the device and how you have to operate it. That's my only thought.
Have you seen a prosthetist or some medical professional regarding this? Like adapting to the prosthesis, because it's an entire adaptation process even for the user.
Right. You mean like a physical therapist or an occupational therapist?
Something like that, yes.
Someone who does handwork. No, I haven't yet. And I thought about that, but they're just going to give me exercises to do and I can come up with exercises too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. My recommendation for faster adaptation so that it doesn't take this entire challenge, right? It's not this entire mental challenge for you to use it, is either to get a sponge ball to play with it with both hands, like throwing it in the air and catching it with the other hand. Right. Doesn't matter which is which.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And this will help you quite a lot. I've been in a similar situation and that's why they recommended, and I got my strength and my coordination back really fast. Oh. Other than that, using anything that is a little bit more fast-paced. So you would have, for example, using a basketball and tapping it with both hands. Anything that's a bit more dynamic so that you have to start using your arm a little bit faster. Okay. Not more than maybe half an hour a day, but most an hour, but it will accelerate the process of learning how to adapt to the new configuration of your body, which is only normal.
Right.
That's really good advice, Alexander.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I do remember seeing some videos of children who just gotten their e-NABLE hand, and they were doing the ball and they were being successful, and it made them feel really good. So I get that. I can see that. That's really a good idea. Thank you.
Some of it too is, I don't know, there's sort of an expectation of things with a dominant hand. I remember I broke my dominant hand when I was 19, and for 6 months I had a cast. It was a pretty serious break. I still have the scars on my arm. But I was writing with my left hand and drawing with my left hand, and it was frustrating because to write something, it really, what you're saying, it took more time and focus. So it could be,
right.
Yeah. So it could be also something where maybe not necessarily faster, but also taking time to do things slower, to sort of get a rhythm of how things work. I know when I was writing, I really had to slow down. And once I just accepted that it was a different tempo, I was less frustrated, but I was writing backwards at the time to mirror my write.
Well, you're making new roots in your brain, and that's probably why it takes a little longer, because
I just
those
wish I could draw.
This is probably more relevant in the case of prosthetic users than in the case of accidents. Try to do as many activities where you require to have both hands, like both the device and your other hand, simply because you need to adapt to the new possibilities that you have.
Right.
Other than your old ones, because that's the point of a prosthetic. You have to get something new. It's not just fancy.
Right.
Wow, it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I wish.
I know, you do.
No, you sound like you're a professional in occupational therapy, or physical therapy, not physical therapy, occupational therapy or prosthetic therapy.
Yeah, right.
I had to go to occupational therapy and therapy in general because I had an accident. And I'm still very young, and I recuperated very, very fast because I was like a sponge of information. And I didn't have much time to recuperate. I had to do it very quick.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you for sharing your skill, what you've learned.
And Judy, in terms of your device, is there anything that you can think that you're, aside from just the learning curve of using something new, any improvements that you can think about sharing? Or?
Well, the only improvement is filling the space in there, but that has to be done by each individual depending on what their residual limb is.
Right.
But the nice thing about that is it's so easy to adapt to individuals, because you've got pretty much a generic space in there that can be filled with anything.
I just ordered a 2-pound bucket of the Model Magic, and I ordered a big bag of the Instamorph. I'm going to be testing both of those, and
Oh, good.
I'll report back.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
Great.
It's interesting that Judy and Esteban are both looking at basically in one way or another filling around.
Filling spaces, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
filling spaces.
Yeah. And the next thing is what you do when you're missing. Well, the nick finger works really good on your index through your little finger because they're straight up and they're sort of perpendicular to your wrist.
Right.
But the thumb is different. And since I'm just missing the distal end of my thumb, to get that to operate right, we were actually thinking about this particular hand. She gave me, printed 2 hands for me. This one, she put a screw here to attach the string to. Okay, so it's coming basically straight down. So it's almost like it would be with a finger to the wrist. This one had a screw. This one had a screw somewhere else. Maybe this one had the screw in both places. I don't think she had this. This one had a screw on the inside, and it ended up, and she tried to run the line with a little bit of tape, cloth tape, and what looks like part of a WD-40 nozzle to run the string through that. And that didn't work out. It was a good idea. The concept was good to keep the string in place and protected. But it was uncomfortable putting on the device and and it was always there. So when I get this back together, she's also sending me some more that are a little bit smaller so that they might fit better. Then I'll try attaching it to this screw right here. And if that's not right, I can drill another little hole and try a different screw. But yeah, so that's all I'm working on now. But
I really like your solution for the big finger. Like I really, really like it, and it's an elegant solution, really.
For the thumb.
The thumb, yeah.
using the nick finger for the,
Yeah, using the nick finger and connecting it to the shell of the bigger device
right,
to get a better orientation.
right. Now she ended up printing only one joint rather than the two in the neck finger.
Right.
I think Nick also has designs that are made for the thumb. I don't know if we have designs on Nick's finger with only one joint. So not sure about that, but we have a separate thumb for that.
The nick finger, Alexander, there are two, you can configure it two ways. You can print it for one joint or two joints.
Mhm.
That's including the thumb or just the normal fingers?
No, just the normal finger. I have never seen a nick finger for the thumb per se.
I know there is such a variation. I don't know how it looks.
Okay, we don't have it on the hub. We have the standard nick finger, which you can configure either with one joint or two joints.
Yeah, and that's what she did for me. She did just one joint because I have one joint.
It's interesting to combine two devices like that. You know, it doesn't seem like there's a sort of a plug and play option that we have for that, but that would be, you know, sort of an interesting thing. I saw Jeremy playing with the kinetic hand while you were talking.
Yeah. And I was going to say, Jeremy, that kinetic hand, if you see how the fingers wiggle.
Yes, well, that was because of the material I was using, yeah.
Right.
For the hinges.
Look at the fingers here.
Right.
She used the next step up, and you know, maybe it's a little harder to operate them, but I don't notice it considerably.
Oh, that's something we've talked about, and it's always going to vary because it depends on the scale you're printing at, and it depends on the settings you use and how solid you make the hinges. There's so many variables at play. It's a very tricky thing to get consistent.
Yeah.
But what I was looking at was just the fact that on the original design, it's a very simple thumb. It's only, you know, one piece. It's not like they even have a second, you know, joint on the thumb. So if you were to even just extend your thumb without having that extension operate at all, you would already have the same functionality as the normal, you know, kinetic hand. Just something to think about. Oh,
well, several years ago when I had that first device printed, the fellow, trying to think of his name again, Dario Roth.
Yes.
He cast a little piece to go on the end of my thumb.
Oh, okay.
And it's okay. It falls off all the time.
Yeah, that would be the problem, is how do you get it to stay on comfortably and securely?
And there's glue that you can use that actors use when they have prosthetics for films and plays and so on.
Okay.
But that's sort of, you know, you want to be able to slip your shoes on and go, you know?
Yeah, so what I was wondering is if there's a way to take something like that he built that fits already and is the shape you want, and secure it with some kind of straps to the kinetic hand, not in order to activate it, but only to hold it on to your limb, you know?
Yeah.
So that it would go on as one unit. I don't know. I don't know if that would work or not.
Well, there's another experiment for me to try.
Yeah, maybe like using elastic straps so that it has some give to it, you know, but it would still hold it in place. Maybe an elastic strap on each side. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about trying this out with a friend who has a kayak because I've wanted to kayak. And my thought was, oh, geez, I'm going to have to go diving if it slips off my hand because it's going to have to sink to the ground. And someone was saying, well, you could just attach a balloon to it, a small balloon, so it just floats. And I thought, well, that's an idea. Have a little balloon on your device as you're paddling.
Yeah.
But, or you could put a strap like surfboarders use. They put it on their ankle. So when they fall off, their surfboard is nearby.
Right.
You're talking about the thumb, right?
No,
That's
I'm
right.
talking about the whole device.
The whole
Yeah, for
device.
kayaking.
Well, you know, depending upon the infill, it may float.
Right.
That's, I could try it.
Seriously,
The
I
sinkers,
mean,
Probably would.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's only a 35% infill, probably.
That's right. So it's filled with air pockets. Yeah.
That you would float.
Huh.
Wow, that'd be worth checking out.
Yeah.
I was going to
He's
mention
probably right.
Well,
for the fingertips. This isn't something that you want to use for something that
Gorilla
they
glue.
want
Gorilla
to take off,
glue,
but
yeah.
Gorilla Glue would do it. That would
That'll
be.
do it. That's
That
for
would do
sure.
it.
You
Might
won't
hold it
lose
on there
the
longer than you want.
But
Well-
for folding laundry, Esteban, this could work.
Yeah,
If-
you know,
if the strings get wet or the channels get wet, they're not going to dry well. It's going to get nasty in there.
could, but
Put it in the microwave. Oh, you can't put it in the microwave. There's metal on it.
no, don't put it in the microwave.
Because it will melt.
No, but those cords should dry out. I wouldn't think
Yeah,
that
I
would
would
hurt
think.
them.
Put it in the
Those
sun.
are, in fact, well, I don't know what was used on that particular kinetic can. We often use a braided fishing line as our
Right.
cord. So
That's
that
what-
would be well suited to water.
Yeah,
Right.
but if it's PLA,
Yeah,
that
but-
device isn't going to be very good.
Yeah, well, you'd have issues regardless if it's PLA.
Yeah.
What is PLA?
PLA is a common material that's used. It's very cheap and affordable and easy to print, but it also tends to kind of break down more easily than other materials, and it's not as strong as some materials. So, yeah, it's just
Well,
it's
it
a
has
little
a
more.
higher water solubility.
Yeah, somewhat.
Oh,
It's not like PVA. That might be what you're thinking of, Bob. PLA doesn't.
Well, no, but PLA with humidity will lose strength, right?
Eventually. But I mean, just being like, I mean, I've seen people take their PLA devices in a pool and it doesn't affect them. It's
okay.
it's a difference between that and leaving it submerged overnight. Then you'd probably have issues,
Okay.
you know.
the
Oh, yeah,
chlor-
PVA is water soluble. I know.
yeah.
Oh, goodness. Huh.
You know,
Well,
I'm
how about
sorry.
you-
Oh,
How about
no,
UV?
go ahead, Judy. I'm sorry.
How about UV? How was it?
No, it's not very good for UV either. Again, there are other materials that hold up much better in UV than PLA, but PLA will start to break down in UV, and the colors will fade, and the material itself will start to break down and degrade in UV. So you
I
got to be
think-
careful about that.
It's worth recognizing though, Judy, that your device is probably made with PETG, I'd imagine. You could check with Connie.
Yeah.
But it is something that I think with Esteban's device, that's PETG, right?
Is that right, Bob?
Esteban's is PETG. Oh, yeah.
Right.
So
I-
PETG is our recommended material. So there's a good chance that's what she used, because that is much better outdoors. It holds up much better to UV. It has a much better temperature resistance. It holds up a lot better overall. So yeah, it's worth checking, but it may very well be that your device is PETG.
Okay. I guess I should know. I'll
Yeah, it
ask.
would be good to know so that you can compare your experience to what you should expect.
Okay.
You know, I apologize. I came to the meeting late. Going to Esteban for a minute. Is there anything I should know, Esteban? Is it less noisy than it used to be, or?
Yeah, it is. And I didn't put Vaseline, but I mean, if you hear it now, it's not even
Oh, yeah.
screeching or anything.
Oh, it sounded like a creaky door when you first got it.
Yeah, it did.
So that, you know, the joints mate and they wear in a little bit, I think.
Right. Yeah, I've been using it a lot more.
Okay, good.
It's better like that to keep it. I try just when I'm home, I keep it on a lot because then I do use it for certain things.
Sure.
You're doing what Alexander was saying.
Right.
Have you found that it's easier to fold towels now or sheets?
Yeah, because I can hold them both up like
Yes.
this, and then I can, bend them. And the other way, I had to literally just flip it over this and then fold it that way.
Yeah, Esteban sent me a very nice video of him folding his clothes. It was great. He's delivering a monologue while he's folding his clothes, but I could barely hear him talk over the creaking of the
Oh, yeah.
device. Great.
That's
Well,
cool.
thank you very much, everybody. My son has just come for a visit and,
Nice.
Very nice.
yeah, so I appreciate all your help and
Thank you.
look forward to the next meeting.
And
Yeah.
we'll do these at the same time every month. We'll do, I think I have it scheduled for the third Monday of every month. Is that seem okay for you guys, Esteban, Judy?
Yep.
That's great.
Super. I also wanted to mention really quick that Bob and I have started a case of the week in the hub. I'll be posting later today. It's looking at some difficult cases in the hub and trying to open the conversation to see if people have ideas. I'd invite both of you guys to also comment on those cases because you have really great firsthand experience of important adaptations that you've made and challenges that some makers might not think of. So I might tag you in the post, and if you can just share your ideas of
Great.
from your experience, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Great.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.